So I need to record. You're probably seeing this message that we're being recorded, and just if you see the button that says "Got it," and you're not going to be. It's mostly going to be me. I'm going to spotlight myself right now.
Oh, you got the spotlight, all right.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay.
All right.
Looking good, John.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Let me get, I guess I have to. I don't have my assistant this time, so I'm not going to be able to see if new people are arriving. Oh well. Thanks for coming, everyone. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes, because I'm going through a phase where everything is going wrong, everything. So if the power goes out and the internet goes off, I won't be surprised one bit. And like I said, there'll be a little bit of stumbling probably. But anyway, let me first clear up the confusion about what this is. I know I sort of send an email to everyone clearing that up, but not everyone reads their emails, I've discovered. So this is not performance art. This is not stand-up comedy. This is just a casual Zoom. I'm talking about 3 websites I've created. They're built by 3 different teams of people. So each one is totally different in look and design and execution. And they're not quite ready for prime time. They all need at least a little bit of work done on them before I start really pushing them and trying to get traffic. But they're at the point that I want my friends and family and good acquaintances to have a look and give feedback on it. You don't have to give feedback, but I'd love it if you did. Not now, not during, afterwards. So first I'm going to talk about them. And so don't give feedback while we're going along. But if I say anything that's not clear, then do speak up and say, I don't understand what you meant. And that's totally fine. And I'm sorry I have to say this, but I learned from a previous presentation, please don't heckle me. All right, so let me first tell you a little bit about myself, because these 3 websites, in a way, they together represent the totality of who I am. Now, some of you know me very, very well, but it's really only the last few years that I've come to the realization that I'm mentally ill, which is always a strange thing to say, because it sort of conjures up an image of a dangerous psychopath. I'm not dangerous. Mostly, I'm chronically depressed, and I mean deeply, deeply depressed. And I also sport some pretty impressive OCD. That's obsessive compulsive disorder. I can compete with the best of them. I was officially diagnosed as bipolar last year, which to my understanding is the same as manic depressive. And I'm really proud of that, because I thought I was manic depressive in my 20s. And I saw a therapist who said I wasn't, because when he asked me questions, I gave the wrong answers. So I was finally good. I knew it. I knew I was. Asshole was wrong. So, and I've become extremely antisocial the older I get. So in social situations where I don't know everyone, I tend to sit in the background, rarely talk, very still, very quiet, very evasive. If you ask me what's been going on with me, I usually give the most accurate but most non-script answer possible. And I'm seen to be really good at sending signals, not to ask any follow-up questions, because no one ever does. But then what happens is that not only does people not get to know me better as a person, they don't know anything I'm doing. And I've become largely invisible, which I actually like, but it gets in the way. So somewhere along the way, I don't really remember why. I decided not to tell people anything about myself. I started becoming very withdrawn, and I can speculate on what the reasons were, but it's all tied into the mental illness. So to be blunt, this is really scary for me. what I'm doing here, showing you this work, the stuff I've been working on. The way I like to think of it, these three websites represent me. I love working on them. It feels like I've found my life's purpose. But what happens is that I work on these, as I'm working on them, I go, God, this is great. People are going to love these. And then when the time comes to show it to people, I lose all that confidence. And I'm like, oh my God, people are going to hate these. What the hell made me think they were any good? So I think these are good, but I don't really know. Now, the first one is the tripping channel. A lot of you already know about this one. I started working on this in 2020 during the pandemic lockdown. And although I had done psilocybin mushrooms before, always had bad trips, always, including a very big, scary one wherein I jumped off the second floor of a building, trying to jump to the next building over. I just want to say it seemed entirely plausible at the time. But just a few feet out, gravity took over, and well, I'm lucky to be alive because I landed right on my feet. So I had to see a chiropractor, but if I landed differently, I probably wouldn't have even be able to walk. So that was over 30 years ago. I said, all right, I am never doing mushrooms again, ever. But then I started seeing a psychedelic psychotherapist, and he convinced me to try them under his guidance. And this was just before the pandemic. Talk about finding something right in the nick of time. Now, I didn't know before that mushrooms were healing and that there was a reason they were called magic mushrooms. The relief from depression is so immense, but they also give me inspiration and confidence and motivation. And during the pandemic, I got in touch with an old friend. We were in a comedy group in the late 80s called the Comedy Cows. And hold on a second, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Does everyone see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the Comedy Cows. Me, Anna Ree Austin, her name's different now, and David McLeod. David McLeod's here today.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh,
And
youngster.
what's that?
Youngster.
Yeah. And this was our headshot. And I love this. We were a generic comedy group. You just add water, and the Comedy Cows come out. Now, we actually had some success, and it was only when I started looking back on it did I realize that we were on the track to fame and fortune. And I always said, I'm glad we broke up and that we didn't get it, because I would have died. Somehow I would have either done a drug overdose or I would have done something so publicly embarrassing that I would have killed myself to avoid the humiliation. So we broke up right on the cusp of success. Now, David, David is here. David, did you realize how close we were to success back then?
Yeah.
You did
Yes,
know.
for sure. Yeah.
I didn't
for
realize
sure.
it till late. I didn't realize it till later.
Oh yeah.
So I've kept in touch with the other two cows. And at the very beginning of the pandemic, I had a Zoom session with Anna. And by this time, she had settled on her own name, which is Anna Runkle. And she created a very, very successful website called Crappy Childhood Fairy. And I'll show that to you now. Oh, here it is. Okay, let's do some screen share action. Okay, this is Crappy Childhood Fairy. This is Anna's site. And this site has become like outrageously off the charts successful. She is making so much money with this site. And she said, you know, she said, John, you really should do this too. He said, just create a website, just create a YouTube channel. He said, this was made for people like us. And I've always sort of regretted that I didn't ask her, what is people like us? What does that mean? But she just said, John, think of something, do it, and you will be successful. And I said, really? And I don't know, I had not had a vote of confidence like that in a long time. So I took her advice and started beginning to think of what kind of YouTube channel I would create. So initially my idea was to create, it was going to be called the Topping Channel. And it was going to be scenes of me and Harvey's life. Harvey and I are both fairly witty and funny, and we sometimes have some of the most hilarious conversations you've ever heard. And I wanted to recreate them on video soon after they'd happened, like either right away. Oh, it's almost here. Oh, Charles Stewart came, yay. Hold on a second. Let Charles show up. I don't see his name on here. Oh, there he is. Are you with us, Charles? He'll just have to catch up. Okay. But it's not just recreating scenes from our life. It was also going to be a place to showcase my old films and videos and really just whatever I wanted it to be, anything I thought of. And my mind is very scattered, so I needed something to encompass a lot of different things. And the Topping Channel just seemed like the way to go. It could be anything I wanted it to be. So I began planning it, but then one day, now, but by this time I was already tripping on mushrooms on a regular basis. And one day I was tripping and I got the idea of making a video about helping someone through a bad trip. And I thought about this video a lot because it was something that I really could have used myself more than once. And thus was born the Tripping Channel. And this was going to be a throwaway channel. It was just going to be something I played with on the side, and the Topping Channel was going to be the main thing. And this was going to be like a throwaway. But then what happened was the Tripping Channel just kept taking over and it dominating my creative process. And soon that became the main thing, and Topping Channel became the secondary thing and got put on the back burner. And now I'm going to show you an early what the Tripping Channel looked like at the beginning. There's the okay, we're going to leave the comedy cows. All right. This is what it first looked like. And the feedback I always got. Now you can see this is the help getting through a bad mushroom trip. This is the most important video here. I think of it as a centerpiece. I think of it as the reason that the website exists. But everyone said that it was not visually interesting. Now, I didn't agree, because part of the idea was that I was creating a terry cloth world. For anyone who doesn't know, terry cloth is the material that towels are made from. And Shroom Daddy, the host, it was me, of course, but he wears a terry cloth costume. All the videos were shot against a terry cloth backdrop. And so I was like, this, it's just the image of terry cloth got me excited. And people also didn't seem to understand that if you're on mushrooms, then you're already projecting your own visuals, and the white terry cloth acts like a screen. And I was like, duh, I don't need to put psychedelic images up there. They're going to be redundant. But I wasn't taking into account the people who might be visiting the site who weren't tripping. And even more than that, the terry cloth wasn't reading on cell phones, and now cell phones are where most people go to for their internet browsing these days. So my confidence in the success of this site was really soaring, and the world, it was a pandemic. The world had changed just to the way I like it. I didn't have to shake hands with anyone. I loved that. I didn't get sick. And I deemed 2020 to be the best year of my life. I was expecting the tripping channel to be a big success. I thought it was going to happen quickly. You know, mushroom popularity was on the rise, and it's just going to like just ride the wave to success. And it might have happened that way. But in 2021 rolled around, I started really organizing it and getting everything going. I even hired a full-time assistant, and which is so wonderful to have. But my life just started falling apart, and Murphy's Law kicked in, and anything that could go wrong did go wrong. I had a massive betrayal committed against me by someone I was close to, and it really sent me over the edge into just flat out insanity. Total insanity. I was off the deep end, and that just got things rolling. And then I developed a weird stomach illness, which zapped all of my energy away, and nothing was panning out. Everything was delayed. Everything was a mess. I clearly could not afford to keep a full-time assistant. So she left at the end of 2021, and I was on my own again. And the worst part was that at this point, the mushrooms were not, it's not that they weren't working, they just weren't reliable for relieving me of depression. See, the benefits, it's the mushroom trip itself is fun, but the point of taking it on a regular basis is not for the recreational aspect, it's for the benefits that last afterwards. And I would not be depressed for weeks after. Usually, you know, usually after about 3 weeks was the longest I could go, and then I'd start to get depressed again and hating life, and then I'd say, okay, time to do another trip this weekend, and then I'd be great for another 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'd come down again, and then I would feel terrible and I had to do another one. But it seemed like you know, that way I was happy most of the time, and it seemed like my depression problems were solved, and it was like, this is great. I never knew I could feel that good for that long. But soon enough, as things started turning to shit, I realized that it would last weeks if my life was going well, and if things were not going well, then it became diminishing returns. And then soon it was like 2 weeks that I had to do it, and then every week, and then sometimes it got to the point where the very next day I was already depressed again. So this presented a problem, which is that I couldn't really honestly represent myself as someone promoting mushrooms as a way of healing your life, because it wasn't doing anything for me anymore. It was just the trip was doing something, but the residual benefits were not working out. So the tripping channel just fell apart. And in 2022, the entire year, I stopped everything. I put everything on hold. I didn't know what to do. And I just sat and thought. But if 2020 was the best year of my life, then 2022 was the worst. It's way too long a story to explain here how everything went wrong and how low I went, but that year I suffered not just emotionally, but physically, and every day of living was torture. I cried more that year than the entire rest of my life put together. I cried almost every single day. The tripping channel was still live, but it was just barely breathing. And it was such a thorn in my side. I said, I'm just going to just fuck the whole thing. I wish I'd never even tried it. I wish I'd never had that conversation with Anna. I wish she hadn't encouraged me to do this. But whenever I thought about shutting the thing down, I always thought of that video of helping someone through a bad trip. And I always said, no, that has to be up. If even if it's not getting traffic, because I go by the adage that if it only helps one person, it's worth it. And the site is about doing shrooms safely and not having a bad trip. Sometimes I would not follow my own advice and I would have bad trips. And what I discovered was that I would put my video on and it would help me, even though I was watching myself. And even though I knew exactly what I was going to say, I knew it was coming up. But it helped. It helped. So it's like, if it only helps one person, that one person is me. But then I can watch it anytime I want to. So then my brother, who also is extremely depressed and also uses mushrooms to relieve his depression, when he would have scary trips, he would put it on and it said it helped him. So I was like, okay, I know that this video works. I know it helps people. I know it can help people. So I was just adamant it's got to stay up, even if it doesn't get any traffic. Okay, so let me show you how the site looks now. Let's see. Screen share. Okay, now this is the live site, and it's more visually interesting now. So these two at the top, help getting through a bad mushroom trip and how to trip safely. These are the two most important videos, and they're always at the top, so you don't have to hunt for them. And then I also have posted this one called Mushrooms Cure Gout. And I've scoured the internet to find out if anyone else has already discovered this, and I can't find anything. As far as I know, I mean, I can't believe no one has figured out that it cures gout before, but whoever those people are not doctors or anyone who has a website. So Harvey, hey, Harvey, you're making noise. That's making noise. Stuff in your hand. All right. Sorry about that. Harvey saw the last presentation, so he's not watching this one, but he'll say hi to anyone afterwards if you want to say hi to him. Anyway, so I was gonna wait until I had a bigger following before I posted this one, and then things got so delayed, and I finally said, well, maybe we should just go ahead and post it anyway. And someone said, yes, that might be the one that brings traffic. Really, this one, how to trip safely. I have not told any, I've told like 30 people, maybe 50 people about the site, but I haven't been pushing it. I didn't put any money into promoting it yet. And this thing has gone, it's gone mini viral. When I did the presentation last month in September, it had gotten up to 4,000 hits. And I just checked it today before I came on today. It's past 5,000 now. And it's like, it's going viral. I do say in it that you can, I have a method of starting with a small trip and then moving on to a bigger trip. Okay, someone's making noise. Who's making the noise? All right.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
I would suggest that everyone mutes, because when they're not muted,
Yeah.
any noise from within their own place is going to come in.
I know. I'll just mute everyone. I didn't really want to because I wanted to hear any kind of reactions people had.
Yeah.
But I'll just go ahead and do it. Yeah.
We can unmute for our reactions.
No, you can't. Okay. All right. So you're all muted now. I can't hear your reactions anymore. Boo-hoo. All right. Where did we leave off? Anyway, oh yeah, I was saying about how to trip safely. I say when you do the small trip that you can do up to 1.5 grams and you'll be okay. I've had people since then tell me that they've done a single gram and it's been too much. And then I did a gram dose a few months ago that was too much for me. And I said, I think the mushrooms have gotten stronger. And so I have to reshoot this video because it's going around, and I'm telling people it's okay to do 1.5 grams. I better do a new one and say don't do more than 1 gram. But well, in any case, so they're the most important ones. You watch this one to not have a bad trip, and if you end up having a bad trip somehow, then you watch this, and they're good videos. And Mushrooms Cure Gout is also a good video, in my opinion. So I'm still not completely happy with the design, but it's better than the way it was. And you know, this I hate to say it, this mushroom design, we used AI or Chat GPT or one of those things to create it. And I really want to pay an artist to do it, and instead of, so I think of it as a placeholder. All right. So in late 2022, I finally was ready to pick myself up. Stop sharing that. And I started working on these sites again. And so I put tripping channel aside. I was fine with that. And I was going to just focus on the topping channel instead. But now the problem was that someone else had created a topping channel on YouTube. And where the hell is that? Had it up and ready. I'll just find it live. It's not really that important that you see it. Okay. So, all right, I told you we'd be stumbling through this, and I did not lie. Okay, here's the topping channel. This is someone else's topping channel. And I was like, damn it, they took my name. And so initially I was going to say, well, let's make it the topping channel. I was like, no, that's still going to be confusing. So I said, I've got to come up with a different name. And so this was a whole new problem. Now I got to tell you a little about my name. I never liked my name. And I spent my whole life trying to come up with a good alternative. And I'm going to share you now some of the alternatives I have come up with. Keep losing this. There it is. Gosh. Okay. Now this I came up with in high school. This is just an anagram of my name. A very simple anagram. John Topping is Naj Gipnop. Here's the JOHN TOPPING. Naj Gipnop. And I started having people call me Naj Gipnop in high school, and you would not believe how tenacious this was. There are people from Cincinnati who still call me Naj. So then I came up with another name. This is sort of a joke I borrowed from Monty Python. It's like, I learned that you can spell your name any way you want to, no matter what it is. And I said, oh, really? Well, in that case, my name is spelled Egbert Wensleydale. It's pronounced John Topping, but it's just spelled differently. It's just an unusual spelling. And then when I was studying Italian, I started studying Italian about 20 years ago. And then I came up with Giovanni Guarnizioni. John is Giovanni. And the closest thing I could find to topping was garnish. So that became Guarnizioni. So that is, are you laughing, Kirsten? See, that's the kind of stuff I wish I was capturing.
That's Jeff laughing.
Okay. I think Kirsten was laughing as well. So you never know how my name is going to show up on a video I've made. I tried to bite it and just go with John Topping for a long time, but it just always bothered me. I don't like my name, and I figured out why I don't like it. It's a very interesting story, but I don't have time to tell it now. But if you ever saw my video, the third line of the Christmas song, I thought maybe Jack Topping was the answer, and it didn't stick. And then I started doing stand-up comedy, and I said, all right, I'm just going to be Topping, just Topping. It's just a one-word name. A lot of people have one-word names, and they worked, but it wouldn't stick with anybody. And whenever I'd go on stage, I had to remind them, okay, just introduce me as Topping, just Topping. And they go, okay, I got it, just Topping. And then they go on stage and say, put your hands together and give a big welcome to John Topping every single time. So one day I was signing up for an open mic online and Topping wasn't working. And so on a just very spontaneous whim, I signed myself up as that Topping dude. Little did I know in that moment, it was the name I had been looking for all along. So Topping channel suddenly became that Topping dude. And I got the site for that Topping dude up and running. It was, the first version was awful. I don't have any screenshots of that one, and I wouldn't want to show it to you if I did. It was just chaotic, and you would have been begging for uninteresting visuals. The links weren't working, and they never got fit. It's horrible. So I found this team of web builders in India, and I said, okay, let's just start this from scratch. And so now we got that Topping dude. It's up. I'm going to share it. Here we go. Here we are. At long last, that Topping dude. So what is this website about? This website, it's me. I told you I have, and what's important to me, I told you I have a scattered mind. So this is designed to be able to capture, wherever my mind goes, I'll have a category that it fits into. Now, every video that gets posted goes into the latest category. Hold on.
I need to make myself something to eat.
Okay, go ahead. So this is the latest, and then this is shorts. Now, even though most of my videos are short in the sense of they're less than an hour, they tend to be between 5 to 40 minutes, most of them. But shorts is a new category. In this instance, if you've heard of YouTube shorts, and of course TikTok, they really want you to do videos that are 59 seconds or less. So even though most of my videos technically are shorts, these are really short. These are less than a minute, all of them. Now, My Beautiful You is a, there's nothing in this one yet. I'll go in and show you these in a second. But the idea behind My Beautiful You is to do a series of sessions with volunteers. They'll get paid $50 or something, but to let me turn their body into art, basically to shoot them with video and find beautiful parts of their body with the idea that everyone is beautiful. And people really get stuck on this idea of conventional beauty, which has never really interested me. But I think all people are beautiful, and I think that if I want to do it to show people that they're beautiful too, and they may not see it. So anyway, that's a project that's upcoming. There's nothing there yet. Now, writing is most of these are videos, but if I do any texts or stories or blogs, anything that's writing rather than video, it goes here. Ideas. Now there's nothing in this one either right now. but this is going to be ideas. The longer title is ideas that I don't have time to accomplish myself. And so what I'm going to do is tell the idea to the camera and encourage people, like, if you like this idea and you want to pursue this, making this idea a reality, be my guest. And sometimes sometimes it'll be like movie plots. Sometimes they are ideas for changing the world. A lot of the ideas I have are for changing the world. There's going to be a lot. Products is me telling about products that I like and believe in, and I think that once this gets going and becomes popular, I assume that I'll be asked to push products. But for now, these are just totally just things that I like. Deep cuts. The term deep cut is like if what's a popular band? Well, I can't just think of a band or a musical artist, and they have their catalog and you're familiar with their latest stuff. But if you go back to a really early song they did, that's called a deep cut. It's more obscure. It's usually older. It's obscurity, I think, is probably obscurity and how old it is. It's like, oh, that's a deep cut. So these will be all my old videos. Will be making appearances. Video art hell is some videos I've been making are, let's say they challenge your patience. And I know that they're not for everyone, but I like them. They're very slow. They're very meditative. They're like sometimes half hour to an hour single takes of just walking around the neighborhood. So I know that they're not for everyone. I know some people are going to hate them. So I said, let's give them a warning. It's video art, and you're entering video art hell if you're going here. So they're not going without knowing in advance what's happening. Music is anything that is music oriented, but it's also going to be a lot of what I'm doing is creating songs and recording them first, and then I'm going to ask people to add music to them after the fact. And I know it's not the way it's usually done. It's probably not the way it's ever done, but I did do a video a few years ago called "Why Did You Say Those Things?" And I had my friend David Eccles. I shot it first, and he set music to it later. So I know it can be done, and he did it really well too. But so I'm going to be looking for a lot of musicians. I'll start with asking people I know, but I'll be encouraging visitors to send in their music as well, and we'll post whatever they send in. So any single video could have lots of different music versions, depending on how many people participate. My live, anything that's just about me or what's going on, and these will be sad, depressing videos probably. Helpful. A lot of my videos, I mean, I'm about helping people. I've discovered someone noticed that all my videos are about helping. The websites and the videos, they tend to be about helping people, helping other people. And once I was pointed out to me, I was like, oh my God, yeah, you're right. You're right. I do like that. And I make some of these are good. Now, most people are not going to be interested in any of that stuff. They just want to be entertained. And so here's, if it has entertainment value, it'll go into that category. And I'm expecting for a lot of people, that's going to be the only place they visit. But so now I'm going to take you inside. So here's the latest. And this is in sort of a question mark design. The biggest one over here at the beginning of the question mark is the latest one, and then they get progressively smaller, and then they scroll down into infinity, and every these are all the ones that are posted so far, but there will eventually be dozens followed by hundreds, and then it'll just keep going down until you get to the end. So any video can fall into more than one category. So all of them will fall into latest, and then they'll fall into another category on here, but it can be more than one. So helpful, a lot of, these are some of my favorite ones actually. This is my latest one. I just posted this today, and I would really like everyone to watch this one. It's 45 minutes long, so it's one of the longer pieces. And whereas Help Getting Through a Bad Trip, I forgot to mention, if you take a look at that, that one's nearly an hour. That one is really for babysitting people having a bad trip. And if you're not tripping, it is stultifyingly boring. But if you're having a bad trip, it's a good video. But if you're sober, it's kind of boring. This one, however, I think this is probably the best video I've ever made, but I need people to tell me what they think of it. I'm going to be pushing this once I'm ready to have people really start visiting the site. But I'd like your opinion. If everyone could take 45 minutes to watch this and let me know if you think it's as successful as I think it is, because I can't really tell. You know, when you're doing it, you're really removed. You get removed from knowing if what you're doing is good or not. I think it's an excellent video, but I would like to know what other people think. So let's see. Back to now. Okay, now these are all this is what it looks like if you go on the desktop. But there is also hold on. There's also a cell phone version. Let me see if I can find that. We'll get to the third website real soon, everyone. Okay. Oops, that's not it. Not that. Oh, sorry about this, folks. Oh, here it is. Okay. Now we're having these sites are not perfected yet. So the cell phone version is having some issues staying. It keeps changing. There's some bugs and quirks that haven't been worked out yet. But basically, if you go to it on your cell phone, now if you go to it on your cell phone now, I don't know what you're going to see. But when it's working properly, this is what you'll see in front of you. This is the main page, and they're all the same categories. There's slightly different picture. There's latest. This is helpful. This is music, deep cuts, ideas, my beautiful you, shorts, writing, products, video art hell, my life, and entertainment. So that's what it will look like once all the kinks are worked out. Okay, now backing up in time a little bit, just before the pandemic, Harvey and I went on a long-awaited trip to Europe for 3 weeks. It was our very first experience using Airbnbs instead of hotels. Airbnb and Vrbo and the rest of those places are called share rentals. And I use that term a lot. So if I say share rental, I'm talking about Vrbo and Airbnb and those kinds of things. But what we discovered in Europe, and particularly the United Kingdom, like Scotland and London in particular, was that these Airbnb hosts think they're doing you a favor when they wash the sheets and towels in detergents that have a lot of fragrances. And I guess they go, oh, it smells so fresh and clean. I want to make sure everybody who passes through these doors gets the same wonderful experience of smelling this. Well, I never liked those fragrances to begin with. They cling to your skin. And if you go to bed with someone whose clothes were washed in them, then it's on them and you get to smell it through the whole session. But this trip to Europe in 2019, this is when I first realized I can't breathe. I mean, did the fragrances get worse? Did I become more sensitive? Perhaps both. Whatever the answer is, it was a big problem. And so then every time we wanted to go to use an Airbnb, I mean, we like them. We like the concept and we like getting more house for the same amount of money it would cost to get a room. But this was becoming a problem. And we couldn't just look at the pictures and choose that way. We had to write to every single place that we might want to go and tell them I'm allergic to fragrances. And will they, they always say, oh, well, yeah, we do wash our stuff, our sheets and fragrances, but we'll stop a week before you show up. And I'm like, that doesn't work, because even if you put brand new sheets on that haven't ever been used, if the sheets previously have been washed in fragrances, then it leaches into the pillows and the mattresses, and you can put fresh sheets on and I still won't be able to breathe. It'll be just as if you wash the sheets with fragrances. It's tenacious. It doesn't go away. And it was a real problem. So I said, well, instead of every time we want to go somewhere and we have to go through this process, why don't we create a website where and get a whole list of share rentals and vet them in advance and find out which places are fragrance free. And so this is an idea for a new website. I wanted to call it Airbnb Breathe. So I hired a company called Zero Omega, and they are, by the way, really wonderful. They do everything from coming up with the graphic to creating the website and designing it for you. And they even help launch the business itself, which I did not know that was part of the deal. Because when the website was done, I thought, okay, I'm on my own. But they actually started hiring people to start, looking for fragrance-free places. And I was like, you do this too? And well, they really believed in this site. So they're really remarkable in the scope of what they do. And I wanted to go through, let me see. I'm gonna share my whole screen now because this is in different sections. All right. All right, so oops. All right, I'm just going to go through these quickly because I think this was kind of fun. So this was the first. The first thing they came up with. They were just trying different things to see what I liked, and didn't really like any of these. This thing didn't do it for me. They came out with this peacock, and I said, well, I like the peacock, but what does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. But it's a nice design. And I think I told them I liked this lettering, and I believe this is the lettering we ended up using. And then the next time we met, I had said, we're talking about breathing. Can you come up with something that has lungs in it? Well, they took it a little too literal, and it's like, okay, I don't think we want that. And so this one's a pillow, and that's the peacock again. What's with the peacock? I don't know. They kept giving me peacocks, and I'm like, why? This is starting to get closer, and then here's some other examples of what they came up with. Now these, I said, this looks to me like a tongue sticking out of someone's mouth, like, and I'm not sure that we want that to be what represents the site. So at this point, this is our next meeting. You can see we had definitely settled on this font. So now we just had to get the graphic that we liked. And they came up with, these are some of the things they came up with. And I was like, yeah, not really. And then this was the next time we met. This was the new stuff they'd come up with. And I said, well, this looks like a duck's face. I guess this is a pillow, but it looks like a mirror. Now the same duck face in blue. And then they started putting FF on here and for fragrance free. And I came up with this, pretty nasty joke that I restrained myself from saying in our meeting. But then I thought about it and I realized, oh, you know what? I've got to tell them this joke because it's not just a joke. It's going to be real. I said, I don't know how many of you guys are gay, but in the gay world, FF means fist fucking. And if we use that, then it will forever be known as fist fucking Reynolds. And quite deservedly so, I might say. So they never said anything about it. They just stopped getting logos with the FF on them after this. Lesson learned. So let's see. Oh, this we were just going for the colors. And then they came up with this design, which I did not like. But one of the people working for me said, no, this is the one. This is it. I said, really? And he said, yes. And I said, well, there's this one. I said, I don't know what this is. It looks like a rib cage or it looks like a tree in someone's house. It doesn't mean. Now this we ended up using, we ended up repurposing this for a different reason. But I can't remember, but it wasn't the main logo. Here's some other things that they came up with. And so now, then the next one up here, this one I did myself. And they were very surprised that I, could come up with something like this. And I said, well, I went to art school. I studied mostly film, but I got a pretty well-rounded art education. So I knew. Now they said this, the problem with this one is that it looks like it's an ad for some kind of hospital. And I had to agree with them. They were right, but it's still, this one is my favorite of all of them. I like the one I did more than any of the ones that they came up with. So here's a few more. So then we were zeroing in on this one. And that is in fact the one we ended up choosing because everybody liked it. I had a video editor and two other people, two assistants, and they all liked it. And the people at Zero Omega, they all liked it. Everyone but me liked it. And I got to tell you, I still don't like it, but I felt outvoted. And I said, all right, if I'm the only one who doesn't like it, then we'll go with it because I'm often wrong, especially when it comes to, the taste of a lot of people instead of just my taste. And this wasn't about just pleasing me, though I do wish that I do wish that I stuck it out and waited until we came up with something that everyone, including myself, liked. So then it came down and said, okay, they said then that we were going to put two different colors in it. And one person said, this one is our favorite. Or Zero Omega said that this one was their favorite. But then I showed it to her. Does anyone here know Judy Chaikin? Anyway, Judy Chaikin looked at these and she said, no, with this one, the smile, you see the smile better. And I said, you're right. So we went with this. That became the fragrance-free rental logo. So, oh no, let me show you the site itself now. Okay, do you still see the screen? Yes, okay, thank you for the nodding heads. Was that fragrance-free-rentals.com? All right, so this is the finished website. Looks really nice. I think there's the logo, there's the font we came up with, and these are not actual pictures of places that are fragrance free that are for rent. They just they they're like pictures they came up with just to make it look nice. Here are those things I said that got repurposed. And what these are is if a place tells us that they're fragrance free, then they get this white one and say, well, anyone can say they're fragrance free, but I've gone to places that said that promised they would be fragrance free, and I arrived and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't sleep on the bed. So this means it's been verified, meaning that someone has actually gone and stayed there and said, yes, this is fragrance free. You will be safe if you go there. And hopefully it's going to be me most of the time, but part of the reason I created this was not just for myself, but Harvey, he hates our apartment. He wants to be anywhere else. And so I said, well, if we could get people, this would be a way to get Harvey out of the apartment and travel around the country and to all different places and be able to stay places. And that was part of the idea. So let's see. Oops, stop sharing. Okay, stop sharing. All right. So those are the 3 sites, and I love working on these sites. I love the people who work on them with me. See, because when I find people to work with me, it's not enough that they're competent. I also have to like working with them, and I'm told that I'm not easy to work for. I'm easy to work with, but I'm not easy to work for. So people are telling me, they say I'm very demanding, whereas I think that the only thing I'm always just compromising. So if people think I'm demanding, I'm like, really? I'm actually, I guess I'm proud of that, because I always feel like I'm demanding. I'm always settling for less, it seems like. But everyone, I like working with everybody, and in coming back the other direction, one of them enjoys working with me too. But here's what happens to me, and I'm going to use a Roadrunner cartoon to explain this. Now, when I do mushrooms, I get very inspired. Not only is my depression lifted, but I get inspiration, and I get motivation, and I start doing things. I mean, I don't just dream about it, I start doing it. And in fact, these websites are all basically, the results of being inspired by the mushroom trips I've been on. And whenever I do a mushroom trip, I know exactly what my next step in life should be. But what happens is that, as I told you, it lasts for a while, and then it eventually wears off. So I come up with a trip like gangbusters, and I start working, and I start doing stuff, and I start going forward, and I start getting things moving, and I start making things happening. And then it's like suddenly I'm in the middle of all this, and then the mushrooms start wearing off, and then they start wearing off more, and then I'm depressed again, and then I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? What the hell am I doing? I don't even know why I'm doing this anymore. I don't know if it's a good idea or what. So I sort of said, I feel like Wile E. Coyote, when he runs off the cliff and he's walking on air for a while until he suddenly realizes that he's not walking, that he has no ground below him, and then he falls. And that was always how it felt. It was like I suddenly realizing, oh God, I don't have any ground to stand on, and I'd have to wait till my next trip and then get inspired all over again, and then know exactly what to do. So, like I said, I like these sites. I don't really know if they're good. I love working on them. But I'm at the point where, I've got as far as I can go. I had a lot of money to spend on these for a while from an inheritance I got. But the mad money, the money I can do anything with, I haven't spent all my money, but I've spent all the money that I can just spend on anything. And I got these up and going. And now it's like I don't have enough money left to hire assistants. I mean, I do most of the work myself now, and I hire them for the very end of the process to do the stuff that's beyond my scope. But it's going to be, you know, it's going to go at a snail's pace now. And the problem with the tripping channel and that topping dude, I can do it on a shoestring. I can do it at a snail's pace. I can do it mostly by myself. I don't want to, but I can. And my personal favorite is that topping dude. And, you know, I could really just work on that one side alone and I'd be totally happy. The thing is that everyone says that's the hardest one to market or to catch on, because tripping channel it's very clear what that is and what I'm going after, and the path to putting in search engine optimization and getting people to visit it is relatively easy. I don't think it's easy, but relatively easy. And the same with fragrance-free rentals. We didn't call it Airbnb. We didn't call it Airbnb because they knew, the guys at Zero Omega said they are never going to allow that. They're very protective of their brand, and we'd go into litigation immediately, no doubt. So we didn't even bother, and we said, all right, well, we came up with fragrance-free rentals. Now that everyone says that's the best site in terms of being easy to market and knowing how to go forward with it. It'll make the most money. The problem is that I don't like working on it. I had, like I said, did I say this earlier? I'd approached it like a creative project, and then I said, oh my God, I built a business, and first of all, I don't have the time, because working on the videos and working on the other, that consumes all my time. To be starting a business like fragrance-free rentals simultaneously, it was like, oh, it's more than I can really I really bit off more than I could chew. I mean, I have ideas for it. I think a video campaign is needed. I want to make it a centerpiece for the fragrance-free community, not just about share rentals, but about everything fragrance-free. I don't want to abandon it. It's too important to just abandon it. But it's gonna be so slow doing it by myself. I could just close it down, or I could sell it, or best of all, the best option would be to raise funds for it, because those guys at Zero Omega want to run it. They would love to run it, but they've got to be funded. So I don't have the money. So the contract with them ends at the end of this month. And I actually, in the middle of the contract, I said, we were trying to get fragrance-free rentals. We were trying to find listings, and over a 3-month period, we only found 3 listings, well, maybe 12, but like 10 of them were the same guy who had 10 different places. So really only 3. And I said, that's one listing a month. I said, we got to stop. We can't do this. I can't keep paying money to get listings, to just get a listing a month. So anyway, those are the websites. I would appreciate any feedback. You don't have to give me feedback right now, but if you want to, you can. I will send you, I'll try to get this email out tomorrow. I'll send all of the links. You can find them on your own, but I'll send them to you for your convenience. And I'll encourage you to watch that video, What the Mushrooms Told Me. I would love for you to watch it and tell me what you think. If you have experience raising money, or you know someone who does, get in touch with me. I've gotten I want any kind of feedback that you can give. Like one person had a lot of notes about the Fragrance Free Rentals website itself. You can give me critiques of the video of the individual videos. It doesn't have to be the actual sites. Any feedback you have, I would like to hear. Please be honest, but please be kind, because it's really like exposing myself, and not the way I usually do on the streets. So let's see. Something when I've talked about these sites in the last presentation and then the rehearsal presentation I did, people keep saying, every time I talk about the sites, they say, oh, so you don't want to make money, you don't care about making money. I'm like, well, I mean, part of me doesn't care. I'm more interested in it being a good video and a good website than a money-making one. I mean, I care about the quality more than the commerce, but the idea is that was for these to become successful and support me so I can quit my day job and lavish luxuries upon Harvey and have him, you know, be able to leave this apartment as often as possible. So I need them to make money. I don't know why it keeps coming through that I don't want them to. Oh yeah, so one last thing. Anna told me that she said use Evan Carmichael's. I asked her if she could, like, an hour a month help me with the site back when I was just doing the tripping channel. And she said, I really don't have time, but the person I learned from is Evan Carmichael, and I think that's who you should learn from. And this is this guy's site. I could not believe that Anna was recommending this person. He is the kind of person that she used to make fun of and belittle, and you know, if you watch any of this guy's videos, it's about making successful YouTube channels and websites. And he says things like, use Jeff Bezos as your role model. I hate Jeff Bezos so much. And I'm like, God. And they're, I've watched these videos. I just hate them. I just hate them. I had an assistant once watch them for me and just give me notes. And he said it was stultifying. But I guess I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and do it. And because Anna's the one who got me into this thing. She recommended I do this. She recommended I learn how to make them successful from that guy. So I'm like, oh God, all right. I guess if that's my fate. So that's the end of the presentation. I'm going to turn everyone's, I'm going to ask everyone to unmute so I can hear you again. Okay. Everyone, okay. So just Brian Favorite, Jeff Bull, and Naomi. If you could all unmute yourselves, I'll kill this spotlight so I can see you. Where is it? Remove spotlight. There we go. Okay. All right. That's it. Thank you. If you want to stick around and give me feedback now, you're welcome to. You don't have to. You don't have to give me any feedback at all. If you have nothing to say, you have nothing to say. But if you have anything to say, I want to hear it. You can write me an email. We can do a private Zoom, and you can tell me what you think. I would like to record it. I'd like to have it either written down, or if you want to speak it, I want to record it, because so I don't have to like take notes and try to rely on memory. Hello, David Trudell. I don't think I said hello to you earlier. Who else did I? Naomi,
Hi,
I didn't
John.
say hello to you either. Hello, Naomi. I think and Charles Stewart, are you there, Charles?
Yes, I'm here.
He's there. Okay.
John.
So that's pretty much it. And I would love to hear what you have to say. You are welcome to stay right now and tell me anything you want to say, or if you want to think about it. I'll give you a, like I said, I'll send an email tomorrow, so it'll have all the links. You can feed me back any way you want to, but I would love to hear whatever you have to say about it.
I have a comment then.
Who's that?
Gil Veroli.
Mr. Feroli, go ahead.
So one thing that I feel that that topping dude site could use is, so when you first get there, you have all these selections to choose from, but it might be nice on the home page to have an introduction to the site. That could be 2 lines, that could be a full paragraph or what have you, but just something that provides some kind of introduction to what is this? What is this in general? Maybe that was intentional, that you just want people to click the different spots. But I think it would be helpful just to provide a little bit of an introduction.
Okay. I do like how clean it looks, and I'm a little wary of messing up the clean look that it has. What I'm trying to figure out is that if you, well, let me share my screen. If you go into that topping dude, I just forgot what I was going to say about it.
It was about having an opening paragraph.
What the hell was I going to say?
And you liked it clean.
I like, oh yeah. Oh yes. To get to any video, it's a little bit of a process. Let's say, okay, I want to see an entertaining video. I'll go in here. Okay, and this one looks entertaining. And so I'll go in here. And then it's like, okay, now I have to decide. Well, some of these have 2 different versions. Some of them have a YouTube version and a TikTok version. So sometimes you get there and it's like, okay, do I want to watch it on YouTube or TikTok? And so I was like, how can you? I want to see if I want to figure out a way to just go to whatever the latest video is. Like maybe say in the middle of here, play latest video, so that you don't have to keep diving deeper and deeper before you finally get to it. You can say, I would just, whatever the latest one is, show it to me right now. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm kind of thinking maybe right here in the center. If you go into each category, each category has an explanation of what it is. Let's see, I just posted, why did you say those things? Ed Evans worked on me with this. He's at the session. So that is one thing. Okay, and thank you. I will definitely consider that, and I will figure out a way to make it still look nice. I really love it. I really love this look. One of the things I'm going to be doing is promoting myself as a world peace leader, and the reason is back when the movie Gandhi, someone's making noise. Back when the movie Gandhi came out, I read that somewhere that Gandhi said that what I did was something that any one of us could do. Anyone can do what I did. I'm not special. And I looked for that quote recently and I couldn't find it. Now I'm like, was it not Gandhi who said it? Who did say it? But someone said it. I read it. I think it was Gandhi. And I took the idea. I said, well, if anyone can be a world peace leader, then I'm going to volunteer myself. And so there are some world peace things in here. or oops, not that one. If you go into helpful, this one that I want everyone to watch is a it's a world peace oriented video. This one, people like this one a lot. This is one of my favorites. That topping dude enjoys growing older. There's one more. I think it's missing right here. There is. Where did that one go? It'll be here in latest.
Quick side note, just I think it would be helpful if everyone muted themselves until they're ready to speak, because there's a lot of feedback.
Yeah. Why don't we? Can everyone mute themselves unless you're speaking? There's a missing video. What happened to it? Okay. All right. Well, there is a video where I proclaimed myself a world peace leader, and I explained how, you know, if anyone can do it, then let's make it me. Some of these, you know, a lot of these are going to be videos about solving world problems. Some of them will be, you know, funny, like I don't really expect anyone to do this. Others will be serious, like, no, there seems to be a lot of easy solutions to problems. For example, you know, there's so much food waste. It doesn't seem like it would be that difficult to organize places to pick up food waste and deliver it to homeless and or starving people. And that's an idea. It's that encompasses world peace. That encompasses being helpful. Anyway, so there's some of them are both some of them are serious, and some you can't tell if they're serious or not, and some are fun, and that's just who I am.
Well, I'd like, I'm Ed. I'd like to underscore what Gil said, maybe without a whole paragraph, to change the appearance of your opening screen on that. The topping, which one was that? That topping dude?
That topping dude.
Yeah, if I just look at that, I wonder, well, where am I? You know, and why would I pick any of these? What is this? It could be, you could have something like a little banner under the title that just says something that vaguely but clearly gives an idea where the person has landed.
Okay, well, one of the things I was going to do, I was thinking of something like that before this design happened. I want to be very open about mental illness. I want to push that I'm calling myself a world peace leader. I'm not promising to be good at it, but I think it can do more good. David, you raised your hand.
I did.
Yeah. You know, also,
Oh,
when you come to the
David,
page, can you hear me?
yes, I thought it was a different David who raised his hand.
Oh,
But
I'm sorry.
That's all
Okay.
right.
Go for it, David.
Yeah. When you come to the page, there should be something, maybe a separate category that says who you are. Who are you?
Okay.
What is this page about? In other words, even some of the biggest people in the world, like Nicki Minaj, whoever, you go to their website, they have an about who they are.
On the front page?
That's a very important thing. Yeah. Because you need to know who this person is, why you're there, this person has to say. And that to me creates the interest with the other categories. Does that
Okay.
make sense? I don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, now the other David.
Yeah. So I'd like to schedule like 90 minutes for us to talk.
I'd love
Yes. So why don't we see when we can do that? I'm free Thursday night. I happen to be.
Oh, let me see what my schedule is.
Also, one more thing, John.
Yes.
If that other guy you were talking about with the website doesn't align with what you want to do, maybe that's not the person you should be consulting with. maybe you need to be consulting with an artist or someone who's more irreverent and not doesn't have Tony Robbins on his page. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I wasn't sure who
Because-
you were talking about. So, okay, so you were talking about
Evan.
Evan Carmichael.
Evan Carmichael, right?
Yeah, I'm not putting him down. I'm just saying he may not align with what you want to do. You're talking about mushrooms. He's talking about Tony Robbins, completely different worlds.
Well,
You know what I'm
he's
saying?
no, his thing is making your website successful.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not if I found an alternative to him, I would love that.
Yeah. That's all. That's all. I'm just saying maybe look for that person that's got that edge.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Tony Robbins. It's just like it was such a big surprise that Anna was recommending this person. Like, Anna, if I had found Evan Carmichael when we were in our 20s, I never would have heard the end of it from her. Isn't that right, David McCloud?
It is right. And she, as you said, is making a lot of money on YouTube. And so it's like, you know, she's learned some things from Evan Carmichael. And, you know, he's just his expertise is he has some expertise in like how to maximize views on YouTube. That's all. And you know, it may fit or it may not. So I'm going to go because I'm going to need to eat dinner. So let's schedule our time.
Right now?
No, we don't have to schedule it now. We can do that.
Okay, well, I can do it Thursday evening if you want to.
Okay, it's a date. We'll set the we'll do it at 6.
Okay.
All right. See ya.
Awesome.
Bye.
See you later, David.
Bye, David.
Bye.
John, I have to go
Bye.
too. It's time.
I gotta go too. I have to eat my dinner.
I'm surprised as many people stayed as they did. So you're not a captive. Anyone can leave if you want to.
I'm not really here.
Well,
Bye, John.
before I
Bye,
forget
David.
what I
Bye,
have to
Ingrid.
say,
Hi.
Thank you,
Bye,
John.
Naomi. Oh, thanks for coming, Naomi.
Yeah. All right, John, take it easy. I'll catch you around.
Mr. Atkins.
All righty.
Back to you.
Bye. Are you
John, before I forget,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Say hi to you know who.
Oh, okay. I'll try to remember.
Okay. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, Kirsten.
Bye.
can you hear me, John?
Yes, I can, Charles.
John,
Okay,
Yeah.
Naomi left.
before I disappear, before I forget what thought jumped out at me,
Yeah.
I agree that it would be helpful to have some sort of descriptive on the on your site,
Mhm.
but it doesn't need to be long at all. It can be a subtitle. And the one that jumped out at me is tasty. Dang it, I forgot. Tasty frostings or tasty flavors of tasty ice cream flavors. Because you're a topping,
Right.
and it's and it's just the idea that what you're offering is something that is inviting or helpful or something that people will enjoy at some level, and it's just the point is, I think that a subtitle, the idea that the other guys endorsed, which was that you have some sort of subtitle that sort of gives an idea as to why people should enter your site.
Yeah.
Then, and if it's a play on the time, the name of your site, then it makes it more memorable. Off the top, that was my.
No, I get it. Like I'm that topping dude, and that's the front page photo would be me holding all different kinds of toppings with some clever thing about toppings at the top.
Yeah, tasty flavors of life or tasty flavors of life cream. Something you work with it, but something that is a play on words. That's easy, so it's easily an easy meme, and that gives some idea of what people can expect upon entering your site. Because otherwise, there's not the inclination. You got to get people to click. You got to get people to click. And so they need to have some idea as to what it might be about. That doesn't give much of an idea, but the point is, come up with something catchy that suggests what people are likely to find valuable inside.
All right, thank you. Yes, Barbara. You're on mute, I think. You're on mute, Barbara.
Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
would do much better going onto your sites and just taking a look around. I can feel it better, you
Yes,
know,
yes.
than just this brief introduction. So
Absolutely. I'll send you links tomorrow.
yeah, so I'll be doing that as soon as I can, and probably in little snippets here and there. And
Perfect.
but I think you're onto something, and I think it's really brave of you to do this because, you know, it's really a new format, and just go with it. And it sounds like you have some good people helping you. And, you know,
I found some very good people. I love these people I work with.
yeah, I know it's important to love the people you work with. I really
Yeah.
liked when you said that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're spending a lot of hours with these people and paying a lot of money. So you might as well have a good time, right?
Certainly has been fun. It certainly has
Yeah.
been fun building them.
Yeah. So I'll give you little installations as I get to your sites.
Fantastic.
And is there one that is that topping dude the one you're really thinking of going with the most at this point?
It's my favorite one.
Yeah, I think at this point it's mine too, from what I know.
Yeah, everyone says that Fragrance Free Rentals is the best one. It's and the potentially the biggest money maker and the easiest to market. But my heart is that topping dude.
Yeah, yeah, you got to go with that, I'd say. Maybe,
Well, I want
when
to
you
do
get,
them all. I want to do them
yeah,
all. I just
right. I was going to say you can do them all, but you got to, if you can do them all, go. Yeah.
yes. But
All right.
if I can only do one, it'll be that one.
Okay. Got it. So I'll start with that one.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Coming.
Bye-bye.
My further feedback on that topping dude is
Yes.
that
Can we see you,
that
Charles?
I thought,
Can we see you instead? There. Now you muted yourself. Oh, there you are.
oh, okay. Yeah, you couldn't see me before.
Well, can't see you that well now, but it's
Yeah.
better than just a black screen.
Oh, okay. Well, the thing is that what I thought with regard to the Airbnb thing was that it seems to me like what might help is something that suggests when fragrance, it needs to be a little bit more clearly identified that that's where you're going. The word I think is pretty clear. Fragrance free is a common term that people use. So I think that's good. But the visual that you use, I thought might include something a little more explicit than what I saw, such as a spritzer that suggests perfume or cologne, and with the red line through it,
Okay.
indicating no perfume, perfume free, and that's a visual way of saying fragrance free. A spritzer or something indicating vapors or smells or aromas, sort of like spirals that indicate something traveling through the air, a smell or something traveling through the air. So I thought that might be helpful. On the one regarding the mushroom trips, my only thing that leapt out at me was concern for you with regard to liability, and I assume that others have brought that up. That when you say cures gout, and I have gout,
I did not know.
I'm on medication. I am on medication for gout. and it's been increased within the last couple of years. That when you say cures, that's a big commitment. That's a big promise.
Someone pointed out.
Rather, as opposed to relieves gout.
Right.
Mushrooms relieve gout or something like that, because otherwise you're making something, it sounds like you're making a promise or a commitment that everybody is not going to experience. No matter what you offer, everybody's not going to get the same degree of benefit from it. And you might want to be mindful of that, and particularly if there's any potential liability. I mean, I would think that it's buyer beware, but I don't know the law.
Well,
Something like that.
In a lot of my videos, I make a point of saying I'm not a medical authority. I'm not any kind of authority. I'm just a stupid asshole. And this is just what I think. And these are.
You're sharing your experience.
Yeah.
You're sharing your experience.
Exactly.
I'm sure I expected that would be what one would get up on clicking through. I don't know whether or not there is any legal reason why you want to make that clear up front. So I leave that to you.
Well,
and then
I might say that mushrooms, I might put a sort of disclaimer in there that it might be more accurate to say they relieve gout than cure it, because someone else said that. I looked up the definition, and there are definitions that fit it, you know.
Okay.
So,
yeah. I
also,
doctors,
the video is only 4 minutes long, and I say in it that someone else needs to do the double-blind study to prove that this is true. I'm just telling you that it's true, and someone else needs to, someone else needs to do the double-blind studies. But please do them, someone else, and you will find that I'm right.
Well, okay, I said on that, and then the one I loved, that topping dude. I love the visual you use.
Thank
and
you.
the memes for each of the categories, I think, are really appropriate and clear.
Thank you.
I do think that when you click on them, it becomes hard to read. And I know that you highlight the one that's the latest, and that was not hard to read. So that may be all you need to do, because that's the latest one, and people can click around, go clockwise around to enlarge, I presume, the other offerings. But that was what occurred to me, was that I can see the latest offering, I can read that really clearly, but the others I'm kind of squinting at, and you kind of do want to take a visual survey, and I just couldn't read them, except for the latest one. So those are that's my off the top of the head feedback, and I will go in and try and look at the videos that you really wanted to look at. I also like the cap. I would have liked a little more form-fitting shirt.
The cap? What do you mean the cap?
The cap, what you wore on your head, the cap on your head was nice.
For Tripping Channel?
Flattering. The sunglasses I didn't so much like, but I figured that you have a reason for wanting to be seen in sunglasses, so I left that.
A lot of the sunglasses have been very divisive. It's like 50-50. 50% of the people
really,
and the other 50% say that's great. And so it's just which side do you fall on? But at the time I was very it was very important for me that I not be I didn't want to be recognized on the street. I wanted to be in
right. That's what I guessed.
And
that's what I guessed.
Yeah.
And
I didn't want to have people say, "Oh, it's the mushroom dude. Are you tripping right now?"
Are you?
Exactly. And that's what the point is. That's what I thought when I saw you. why is he wearing sunglasses in a video? And I thought, he's trying to avoid being recognized. So just be clear that people, that will occur to people as they watch the video. It will occur to them that if they notice the glasses, which by the way, I think are flattering, with your cap and your and the sunglasses, I think it is a flattering look for you. But it did draw my attention momentarily to the fact that you were wearing sunglasses. I wondered why, and it occurred to me he doesn't want to be identified.
And
Is that right, John?
well, that was part of it. I also liked the look. I thought it made me look cool, and but I was surprised how divisive it was. You're on mute, Laura.
Muted.
You're on mute, Laura. Here,
There we go.
there you go.
What I would say with the sunglasses, I think everybody's have an opinion about that because they know you. So they know you don't maybe always wear them. Whereas me, even though I know you and I'm related, I just think that is, you see it on the videos all the time, and it's a chill subject. It's, you're just riding through life and you fit that character right there. So I think people are doing that double edge only because they know you so well.
Well, one person, he died, but he saw the tripping channel before he passed, and he was like, he was appalled. He said, "John, you can't wear sunglasses. People won't trust you." And that it gives an untrustworthy image, and people need to see your eyes and this and that. And I was like, well, but I don't want to be recognized. Well, I still don't. I mean, my biggest worry about that topping dude is that it will become successful, and then suddenly people will be recognizing me on the streets. And if I were in my 20s, I would have thought that was a great thing to happen, but I don't feel that way anymore. I like being anonymous.
Yeah, you know what? John, that's the kind of problem you like. That's the kind of problem you like. If that becomes a problem, you will deal with that one. Okay? So don't worry about that one. But I agree with your relative who says it does create a cool look, and therefore the concern I raise may be age related, and that for younger people, cap on head, sunglasses on eyes is probably a cool look they see all the time on various people online. And for older people like me, it may suggest a slightly more sinister intention.
But we're talking about mushrooms. So it's not exactly straight up.
John,
Yes,
is there
Tony.
something called like the Mushroom Channel?
Is
Have
there
you done research? Is there
Um,
something called a website? Because my thing tonight is I'm not really concerned about design of the sites. That's later. My concern is traffic. That's the only thing you have going for you, whether it's YouTube or a website, or it's traffic. There's two ways to get that. One is to post something every minute. And then you'll become really popular on Google. And the traffic just kind of starts turning on itself, but nobody really reads anything. The other way to get a lot of traffic is if you start a chat room on your site. That way, people can actually talk about experiences they've had, like Quora, if you know Quora, that kind of a thing, where it's just a thread that started about a particular kind of topic. When somebody goes to Google and says, what happens if I'm only seeing yellow when I'm on mushrooms? And they Google that, and then on your site will come up, anybody seeing only yellow when they trip on mushroom? And then anybody can add and post, and that's where you'll get the traffic to your site. So I'm wondering, I think that will be the most successful site.
Tripping channel?
handily, John. It's a worldwide phenomenon, regardless of the language, regardless of the country. This is still burgeoning, although I do think one day, like, look how long it's taking pot to become legal with the federal government.
Yeah.
That people are going to need somewhere to go to find out about and to have these conversations. So I'm thinking you have to have I don't know if it's they don't call them chat rooms, but where people can post within your site. That's what
a
made
great idea, actually.
I'm sorry?
I said that's actually a great idea.
That's what made BroadwayWorld.com the most read site in the world when it comes to the arts, and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And they don't pay anybody. And their employees, they're known to pay $10 to $15 an hour to post all day and do a lot of shit work. What they might get the benefits of some free tickets here or there, but my point is you need to let them do the work for you. So I can't think of any other way to do that. And then at the top with your search bars, who am I? Right? What is this site about? This site is about exchanging information that we all have about mushrooms, that kind of thing.
Well, you know, it sounds like the very same idea should be applied to fragrance-free rentals.
I don't know that there's a
Especially-
market for that, John. I'm on the fence about
There-
that.
I do.
Really?
Well, not everyone is.
I know there. I mean, I know there's a lot of people. It's a great idea. There's a lot of people that hate fragrances, but are there that many people that rent units that hate fragrances? See what I mean?
Yeah.
So the reason why I say that, baby, is to get you to concentrate on one site.
But if
Oh.
they offer more than
If I
one unit,
concentrate on one side, it's not topping, dude.
Right. That, to me, I don't know how that would lead to money soon versus the mushroom channel. I keep calling it the mushroom channel because that just keeps popping into
That's
my head.
okay.
Because tripping could relate to any kind of drug. I wonder
Good point.
if
It's usually
there's-
psychedelics.
Yeah. So, but that's my biggest concern is no matter how creative you can be with your channels, the channels that people get addicted to are ones with very strong opinions. Like you're finding these news pundits, they're getting hired by CBS and whoever else just by blabbing opinions, but they're like Rush Limbaugh. They're kind of I was gonna say
Extreme,
because that word stuck in my mind. Provocative. So pushing people's buttons, that kind of a thing. Topping channel is just so fun and entertaining, but I don't know where all the traffic would come from unless they fell in love with you.
Well, that's
Right.
what, yeah,
So that's the goal.
right. With that, I'm going to be pushing individual videos and
Right.
Yeah.
And you're definitely cute enough for that. Jeff and I were just sitting here go, God, he just looks so cute and adorable. And the way you were sitting and pointing to things and holding props. And you're very, very funny. And you write extremely well.
Oh, thank you.
You've got a lot of those things going for you. What you don't have is a world with a time attention span.
What I don't have is a world
with a time attention span, meaning I don't know that a lot of people are looking for 45-minute videos, that they have time for it. I'm just saying this because, you know, I'm dealing with my own website. So we're up against the culture of thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah.
People don't really have the conversation anymore. I'm just talking off the top of my head here. And that's why I keep going back to the mushroom channel or the tripping channel or the psychedelic channel, whatever it is is we need people talking about their experience with drugs without the media involved and without the government involved, and to help each other through this process, especially when it comes to relieving depression. Because as you probably know, John, it's not by birth anymore. People are getting ADHD just from being online.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, have you heard that, Charles? Is that why you're nodding?
Yes. My brother just sent me a text a few days ago suggesting an intervention on the younger members of our family to cite to them all the evidence that they need to get offline because it's so addictive that if they don't break the habit now, they never will.
Right.
An intervention. He's recommending a family intervention.
Well, there was a school recently that banned phones and the kids had to walk out. They walked out.
I'm not surprised.
So, John, unfortunately, you and I are both up against the same thing. Dumb and Dumber in the 80s has taken hold.
And it's astounding. It's astounding.
It's astounding. I mean, you would not believe what I have to edit with these writers. I'm like, even my own writers, I can see after a number of years of getting their reviews, they're somehow getting dumber.
Really?
Because
Wow.
they're not taking the time to think anymore. Critical skills are falling by the wayside because they're not necessary. Let me just get this review out. I don't care anymore, whatever that is. But back to my point, traffic. And I would think the research to do right now that a team would do is, where do people go when they want to talk to other people about drug use like that? Usually when I go online, the Mayo Clinic is going to come up, doctor sites are going to come up, intervention is going to come up. These are people that want to use for a particular reason, like depression. But I don't know that they really have a place to go to talk about it. You know, Jeff has been trying to deal with his ADHD for years, and we can't get any help anywhere. Kaiser has no mental health facility. And they're like, we'll try this drug. We'll try 3/4 of this one and 1/4 of that. I want the hospitals out of this. So I think if you could have a place where hundreds of thousands of people can visit about particular subjects, I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but that's where my brain is going right now.
Okay.
We need a place to have this conversation.
Thank you.
I second that. Because the tack you're taking, John, and I don't know how intentional it is that you're taking the idea of approaching psychedelic drugs from a medicinal point of view, which lends an air of respectability. In other words, if you're looking up how to take mushrooms and you may not be interested yet, you may not have encountered the need yet to do it for depression, but you're curious about, interested in, some friend recommended to you, some friend gave you some mushrooms or some access, and you want to look up a little bit about it, know a little bit more about it, but you don't want your mom or your roommate or your husband or your lover or whoever to walk by while you're online and see that you're looking up mushrooms. But if you're looking up depression and mushrooms is just a means of medically managing that, that's kind of a plus. It's cover, because some of the people may want or need the information you're offering, but may not be out as a user of psychedelics. And therefore it's just an added bonus that you're taking that point of view, because it gives them a cover for an interest that they have. And I also agree with the idea that whether it is the mushrooms or whether it is the fragrance free, those are specific pluses. They are utilities that somebody is drawn to get a benefit from. Whereas that topping dude is something people will explore after they've discovered, you offer them something beneficial.
Right. So when you call a hospital and they say if it's an emergency, hang up and dial 911, they go to the mushroom channel in a certain case. So the first thing they'll see is if you're having a trip right now, click on this.
Yes.
If you're, right, that kind of a thing. But basically, it's a place to disseminate information and experience worldwide from people. And educational. How has it grown? What is the history of it? Et cetera, et cetera. That's your money-making channel. And I would not make it look like that topping dude. I wouldn't have all these, little cutesy, maybe looking videos or with your face. The video would just be the wording. If you're having a trip right now, here's a video for you to watch. That kind of a thing. Pull you out of it so we don't have to worry about you being with sunglasses or hats or anything else, because it's not your channel, it's the world's channel. You just happen to run it. Who am I? I'm John, and I found out that this was battling depression, but then it wasn't, and it went back and forth. And I find that it's harder and harder to have a conversation with a lot of people that have actually experimented or tried or know. And what about chocolate? What's going on with the mushroom and chocolate that they're selling at stores? How can you trust those? This is, it's unlimited conversation. And if you can draw the people in to put the information in themselves, that takes care of your work.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have the web designer set that up, and then the first thing I would do is go to people who've left comments on the videos and say, hey, you guys can go to the website and talk about stuff over there. I wouldn't say it in that voice, maybe. But
I back that up too.
Right. My
own personal experience.
This is the part I can never do, John, because I don't have the money, but is to create the site first. When BroadwayWorld.com started, they had that chat room ready to go. It was just brilliant that they did that. So everybody's like, did anybody see Sutton Foster yet in Sweeney Todd? And then they all these theater queens just start showing up. I don't like her. I do like her, etc. Okay. You also have to sign in, have a password, have a login. You've got to know who they are, etc., etc. But once that's designed and the site is designed, that background of AI mushrooms, you could just get a free mushroom on Shutterstock.com, a picture that you love, that you can use for free. I think
we did.
Excuse me.
What's there we did use for free.
Right. You mean the mushroom? Oh, I thought you said the AI.
Yeah. It didn't cost us anything. It was AI generated, but it was 100% free.
Right. But all you have to do is look at a page of mushrooms and go, that's the background for the site. You know what I mean? You can tell I've been through this, John. What have I been running this 13 years now?
Yeah, I guess so.
7,000 posts. It's been a real wake-up call when it comes to the internet. And there's no real next step for me to go, unfortunately. And sites called Stage and Screen are popping up everywhere now. Stage and Screen San Diego, Stage and Screen Chicago. And I'm like, fuck you. But so that's where I'm going with this is, again, I have to step back. That topping dude is adorable. And of course you want to do it. You're sharing yourself with the world without having to leave the house. How perfect is that for you?
Very.
Right? So that's what you want as your hobby. That's your love child. The other one, the mushroom channel, is where you're going to get the money to support your child. That's where my brain goes immediately.
Okay. I appreciate that. I appreciate all the feedback. And I need to wrap this up because I have to get to a workshop that I'm late for.
I beg your pardon.
I'll email you, John.
Okay,
I
Laura.
miss you, baby. We will talk.
Okay. Thanks for coming, everybody.
You
Happy to
are
give feedback.
absolutely
Charles.
adorable, John.
Thank you.
Adorable.
Thanks for noticing.
And you look skinny in those pictures.
I noticed that too.
Do you think I look skinny in real life?
I haven't seen you in real life lately.
No.
Stand up and take off
No.
your clothes. All right, we'll
Laura.
talk. Love
Wait,
you.
let me put on my glasses. Let me put on my glasses.
Well,
Bye.
I'm not skinny.
Do you know the mushroom man? The mushroom man. The mushroom man. Do you know the mushroom man? Bye.
Hi, Charles. Thank you for coming.